Okay, we're off. Hello, everybody. Hello to all our wonderful viewers, and hello, big hello from Yoda. Hello, Yoda. And here's a message from Yoda. Oh, size matters not. Something. And with something. Hang on. Oh, my bloody batteries have gone on, Yoda. Oh, never mind. We'll have to do without him. Hello, everybody. It's so lovely to have you here. Thank you to everybody who viewed us. I was just saying to Lani and Laurie that there were 93 more views than I had anticipated, the 94th being my boyfriend, because I was torturing him at the time, and he had no option than to view our recording. And the thought of 93 people who were not under duress actually tuning in was absolutely marvellous. And thank you to everybody and our subscribers. Lovely. So this week we thought we would talk about dreams, and I'm going to hand over to Lani and Laurie, because I think Lani had a specific question and it's Laurie's sort of bag to do dream journeying and analysis and stuff, and I have a few thoughts on the whole thing. So yeah, shall we just go straight into it and do dreaming?
Let's do it. Yeah. Okay. And I thought it was a good segue from where we left it off last time with the whale card and with dreams, the shamanic journeys. And yeah, I want to hear about your guys' journeys this week, because I know I had quite the shamanic journey. So let's start with Lani though. What was your question?
So I actually was with a friend and we were speaking of dreams, because this week has been insane for me with dreams. But I've always been a big dreamer anyways. But he was saying that he was never afraid of heights, and he went skydiving, all of that. And then in his dream one night, he was in a car accident and his car was pushed off a cliff. And he was like dangling from the car off the cliff, and he fell. And ever since that dream, he's afraid of heights. Doesn't like it. All the stuff he used to love. He used to jump from mountain climbing, all that stuff. He can do it, but not to that point like he used to. And so I was wondering, from one dream, right, that changed that, his physical reality, what that was about. So that's where that question came. If something happens to you in a dream and your physical reality changes.
Yeah, that is quite spectacular, isn't it? But also super scary. Yeah,
it is. So a lot of times when you're driving your car, it's you driving your vehicle, in a sense. So you're in control. And so him being on a cliff is kind of the way I look is, think of like the fool on their journey, the fool, like when you think of the tarot cards, there's the cliff, they're taking it, they're in control, and it's what you decide to do. Are you going to take the leap, or you're not going to take the leap? So with him driving his car and falling off of it, it sounds like he took the leap, but he was fearful of doing it. You can look at it that way as symbolic. Yeah. You can look at it, depends on how deep, and like bringing that issue into reality, into the waking world, of bringing that fear along with you. So feeling like you can't conquer it, so every memory has an emotion attached to it. So what is that emotion that's attached to his feeling of hanging off that cliff? Another thing, especially if it has that much attachment, and if he's afraid of heights now, was it a past life? Like, did it, and that's what I would ask. Did it feel like a memory to you? Did it feel like you brought something back with you? Do you have to, relook at this? Yeah. There's a lot of different variables, but you just have to break that down with the person, because it's going to be different for every person.
Yeah.
But bringing back stuff, and it always, what we see in this 3D world is really what we see through our eyes, but in your subconscious, there is, there's the 3D, but then there's all Ds. So you are connected to everything. And so, it's always going to resemble and trickle back into your waking life too.
Yeah.
So that's,
I don't know about you girls, but I have, I've been thinking about this a lot, and I have quite different sort of categories of dreams. So I have my standard dream when I'm unconscious. head hits the pillow, I'm out of there. I dream every night, and I remember probably about 90% of my dreams in the morning. I've dreamt all my life, so that's normal for me. But there's generally I would call them processing dreams. They often mimic what I've been watching on telly. So, the settings, if it's been a violent drama or something, that will play out. So it's quite superficial, and it just feels to me processing. And then I have dreams where something spectacular happens. I mean, utterly jaw-dropping. And I know that was something that was beyond processing. And those are the ones I record in the morning, because I just think, wow, that was weird. And in one particular one comes to mind, I was back home in my hometown of Worthing. I had my dog with me. There were crowds everywhere. It didn't feel too great. And at some point I shape-shifted into my dog, my lovely Sabre German Shepherd. And from that moment, I shape-shifted into a wolf. I walked to the end of a path as a wolf, and there at the end was the spirit of my Uncle John, who I loved dearly in life. He'd passed years before, and he had a message for me, and it was all so utterly real and so completely not just processing. So I sort of have those, which I feel very much are the alternate reality, and for me felt more real than this 3D world feels real. Yeah,
because it was real.
Yeah, it was real. And then I have those other events, those other experiences where I go into a deliberate meditative state. I go on a shamanic journey. I often go down to the underworld. I come out, I'm conscious but sleepy, I'm relaxed. I see the same vista every time. It's like the savannah. And then at some point in that journey, I am no longer directing what I'm seeing and doing. It's like a switch flips. And at that point, sorry, Yoda, the journey takes on its own reality. And now I am becoming fully embodied within the dream world. I am no longer directing myself in the dream world. And one particular one comes to mind. I could see the switch flipped, and from me just walking across the savannah in my underworld, I then saw like a temple in the distance, and I walked toward it, and I knew at this point I was no longer controlling it. Got to the temple, there were tourists, it was just a bit weird, people were just dripping around, and then coming out from the side of the temple toward me were the spirits of my mother and father, who had both passed. And they were the age, I would say they were in their early 30s. I didn't know them at that age. I wasn't born. They were wearing clothes I've never seen in photographs of them, never seen in their wardrobes when they were alive. And the delight and the joy that I felt was unworldly. And then my mum leant toward me and was just about to kiss me. And then my bloody telephone rang in this real life that we call it. And it was my friend Kath, who was ringing me up to say happy birthday. And I was so angry with her. I was cussing her down the phone. What are you phoning me at this time? My mum was going to kiss me. And then bit by bit, I sort of calmed down. And I realised that Kath, even though she wasn't consciously aware of it, had to call me, because she was calling me back to 3D reality, because I would have stayed there. In that moment, with my mum and dad being there and just having that perfect kiss, I know in a 3D world, I was about to die in my sleep. No doubt about it. Someone would have, half eaten by a German Shepherd and a Labrador. and I would have died in my sleep in that moment. And Kath's telephone call dragged me back to this reality. So that to me was a sort of a conscious, guided descent into a different reality. But then that reality took over. So I have these sort of categories of experiences. All of which are, two of which are very profound, and the processing one I think is necessary just for the brain to sort stuff that's gone on in this 3D world in whatever way we want to do it. Yeah.
And I feel the same way. I have a lot of the quote unquote processing dreams. That's what I had a lot this week, was just shedding. It was just like shedding. Changing vibration is really what it was all about.
Wow.
And then I had one of my guides come to me in my dream this week and say that we were done. And I felt really sad about it, but I understood it was like I had changed vibrations. It was like he did his purpose. and I watched him kind of turn into this mist, and he kind of left through his third eye. It was like this, I seen him go, and it was sad, but it was like, I felt honored that, you know, he's gone, but I feel like I've got another being coming around. Like there's this, I haven't been introduced yet, but I've been sensing it. But what really was profound this week, I mean, that was pretty, but so, you know, I'm doing all this, you know, shedding my skin, so to say, and transforming. My daughter comes to me and tells me about a dream she had, which what put everything in, like all the perspective back into reality for me. So she's been my catalyst. Like the day she was conceived, she basically, there was like a wave that went out through my whole family, my whole lineage of love, but it conquered, it broke down a lot of walls through that whole thing. And so it woke me up. She's a great teacher, a wise soul. And so she's telling me this dream that, you know, and of course it's Halloween time and you're talking about processing, but this goes even deeper than that. So I get bitten by a zombie, okay, and she's trying to save me. Okay. And she's like, I don't know. So she's like, you know, trying to save me from this bite that I had. And then it morphs into my family house, which is her grandparents' house. And everybody there was a zombie. So they were all trying to make her a zombie. And so she had to battle them. So she battles them all. And she realizes that she's still asleep in this dream upstairs. So it's the higher a higher mind. So she goes upstairs to re-wake herself, and then she comes downstairs, and everybody, like all their old skins on the ground, and here they are, like alive again. Like, wow. So she, in my opinion, she had like totally went and demolished whatever sickness that was within our family lineage. Again, broke that down into a whole nother form. And I was like, when she told me that dream, I was just like, oh my gosh, you were an amazing soul. I wish I could explain to you. She's only 12, so she doesn't get it. You know, in her eyes, all it was zombies. Yeah. But wow, it was profound. It really changed a lot. And I can feel it within like just all the energies changed.
Yeah.
You can feel it ripple out.
She's
so yeah,
astonishing. Astonishing.
It is.
Yeah.
I have novels of dreams. I write down my dreams, and I'm like you, Claire. Do I have different? You know, you have your processing. You have I always feel like you have your memory ones, your past life ones. I have a lot of premonition ones, and I have a lot of spiritual dreams. So I have, you know, meeting spirits, even if it's ones I don't know. I've helped spirits, lost souls cross over. They've come to me and found me. I've helped them cross over. When it came real to me was when it was somebody I knew. And when that happened, I was just like, what? Like, I was like, you look like so-and-so. And then, you know, 3 months later, I find out that they did die. And I looked in my book, and it was that same week that they died. So I was like, okay, this is for reals, you know. But yeah, I love dreams, which got me into doing hypnotherapy, diving into the mind. The mind is amazing. Different realms, you know, past the 3D eyes, you know, so to say.
Yeah.
But
wow, fabulous. Lani, what are your experiences with dreams? You said you dream every night or regularly.
Mm-hmm. Very vividly. So I would say the same with you guys. I have those types of dreams, except I can't say that I really have the dreams of meeting other spirits or guides in that fashion that I remember. So that's the one thing that I don't do in my dreams. But I've had recently, I told Lori about this before, but I have this whole thing where I am dreaming, but I'm awake. So it's like I'm between, I don't know, like if it's, I forget Lori, you know what I'm talking about, the different states of dreaming, like the different being awake, not being awake.
Right.
So I'm having this more often where I am between awake and asleep. But I know that it's kind of like when you're a kid and your mom is trying to wake you up for school and you're like, I'm going to pretend I'm asleep, but you're not asleep. I know I'm awake, but I start having these like movie playing in my, like I can see it like it's a movie playing and it's so clear. And I know I'm awake though. But normally what I see is not my dream. I'm not in it. It's like I'm seeing different worlds. And sometimes it's in a cartoon. And I've been getting this more and more. And that's been a new thing. Because I used to just get it sometimes. But now it's becoming more often. And it's like I'm getting messages through them. That was a new thing, Lori. Now I know I'm getting messages through it. And I feel like it's kind of a distraction for my ego mind, the actual what I'm watching, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's not correlating with whatever I'm taking in.
Yeah.
So that was a new thing because that happened to me last night. Or this morning, whatever we want to call it.
That sounds more like soul journeying than like through dreams. But yeah, where you step out of yourself so you don't have your conscious mind involved in it at all.
Exactly. But I'm not having, oh my God, I'm not having a lucid dream, because I have those too. Outside your body and you can see yourself or you see the other person, whoever's in your dream, and exactly where they are. But this, it's like I'm aware, and it's so weird because it's like I'm watching television, but I'm awake and my eyes are closed.
Yeah.
And I'm fully awake. So that's the thing. But recently, tons of healing family timelines and past lives.
Yeah.
And I'm speaking to like my grandparents that passed, or my grandmother right now who is in Alzheimer's or dementia, as we call in this reality. And speaking to her through dream time. And then in reality, it's like we connect on that level too. So that's been really amazing.
I love that. I love that you get that connection and like can tap into, her because we had that conversation of like dementia and what it's another dimension. So tap into that. I think that's amazing that you.
And I said to her in this reality, I'm like, you've been so busy working because that's the whole idea is when you get older that they're in a bed, she's not moving, you know what I mean? And it's the whole idea that they feel like they're gone and they're not gone. So I'm like, you've been so busy, and she's like, yeah. And I haven't seen my grandmother in like 3 years in person. And so I saw her and she remembered me right off the bat. She's like, hi, Lonnie.
Wow.
And then my mom, who sees her 2 times a week. And she's like, my mom goes, you know who I am? No.
You're
she's not
going to hop into your dreams.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful. Are your dreams affected by the lunar cycle? Because this full moon's been an absolute so-and-so for me. I've had some absolutely shockingly extreme dreams in the 2 days leading up to the full moon, and then the full moon, and then the 2 days waning. Every night I'm battling, war, violence. I mean, it's so extreme. It really seems to bring something up for me. Don't know why.
I think that's what we're doing is just battling and like shedding right now. So I really do. I mean, the full moon, but then having Venus in retrograde, it's all about relationships, relationships with yourself, with whatever, So karmically, we're just, shoveling shit, as my mentor would say. We're just.
But in a beautiful way, we can see it in our realities, like in a great way. Like it's like now, speaking of, I'm with my parents at the moment visiting them, and it's so beautiful because it's like I see it in real time. So, this isn't real time, but you know what I'm saying? Of like what you're doing and the connection and closeness you have without having to talk about any of this, because they would have no idea. If I tried to talk about this, they'd be like,
good night, good night.
Right? The deer in headlights.
Exactly. Yeah. That starts to, put stuff in my drinks. But I mean, they're like, you lost your mind.
Go join your grandmother. Go join your granny. Yeah.
Oh, I know. Yeah, but that's what I mean is, in the same with what you said with your daughter, like you can see and feel that connection because of the things you've done in your dream time.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
for sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
We are doing it for our lineage. We're doing it for all, all of it. I feel like that is a starseed like mission. I do. It's like dissolving not only your own stuff, but it's like all in your DNA, because the DNA carries on all that stuff. So it just, when you start doing the work, it just trickles down.
Yeah.
And out,
Yeah. I know I talk to some of my friends and we all wake up and we say, God, that was a tough one. We're so exhausted. We seem to have not had restful. I think that's the downside, is I don't feel I ever have restful sleep because I'm always so bloody busy battling or, whatever. Right. Sometimes it's gorgeous, it's sexy, and I don't want to leave it. But most of the time, it's busy bloody dreaming. And I wake up and I'm absolutely shattered and I think, this can't go on. This just can't go on. And somebody, a lovely lady, told me to ask. In fact, no, it was Dwal Cool, Ascended Master Dwal Cool, in a reading. I shared that with him and I said, I don't think I can do this for much longer. I honestly am on my knees now. And he said, before you fall asleep, ask your guides to send in another guide to keep the sort of the spirits that are working with you on a very high level, just to tell them to back off, and this new guide just to sort of put a protective boundary around you, because he explained that a lot of the guides that work with us have no idea what it's like to be human, and they have no idea that we have quaint old-fashioned things of, I quite like 8 hours sleep if that's all the same to you.
Right, exactly.
And as far as
I need that sleep.
Yeah, as far as they're concerned, if you're present, they're in and they're working with you, and that's the end of it, and they'll just keep going and going and going. And he said, if you can get a guide who hasn't experienced this human life or is familiar with the human limitations, ask them to step in and just to communicate with your higher vibrational guides and just say, you know what, I'll have a night off. Just back off, boys. You can come back in office hours. And I tried that for a few nights and it seemed to work, and then it didn't work, and then it all came, right back in the same intensity. So maybe I ought to try that again. Don't know.
Right.
I was told that too, to have the intention, like if you have a couple nights, especially around full moon and new moons, to have the intention before sleep, if you need sleep, to be like, I really need this night to sleep. Okay. I need to, not have a full night of working and just have that. And I've had that before, to give myself a break. Mm-hmm. But it's just, we forget how much control we do have. Yes. And sometimes, like you said, we give it because we just don't think about it. And we're just like, we're kind of human about it. And the other day, I swear to you, maybe it was around the new moon, I felt like I was sleep hungover. Like
oh, joy!
Going back into my body was a hard thing. And I was,
right.
My parents are like, what is wrong with you? And I was like, I didn't know where I was, who I was. And I just felt super hungover in that, like coming back to earth feeling this so hard.
Yeah.
So,
God.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you dream more during like certain times of like the astrological cycle? Like I feel like now that we're getting into like Scorpio season, going deep, delving deep, I dream a ton this time of year. That's what I've noticed. Like I'll have 2-3 dreams a night that I can remember.
Yeah. And
I do feel a little bit more exhausted. And I used to always just say, oh, it's just because of the change of the season. But I really do feel this is dreaming all. I dream like 10 times more, I feel like, this time of year.
Oh.
Do you think it's kind of like the end of the season, like the end of the year, where we are like, I know this is very human thinking, but we're like, okay, there's things we want to wrap up. You know what I mean?
Oh, right.
It's very human, but I just...
Right. Well, maybe that's, and so we're open to that, and that's why they're just like, all right, let's get this shit done.
Yeah, right. New Year's.
I sign up to that. There's a sense of completion in some of my dreams. It's a bit tiresome. I think, oh God, we're here again. And it's usually on an RAF station, and, I'm battling enemies, whatever, within and without. And then I think, oh, this is, I've been here before. Can I just stop fighting? And then there is a nice resolution toward the end of the dream. And I'm always surprised. And I think, oh, well, that's come good. Great. So yeah, Lonnie, I think there is a sense of bringing things to closure. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah. Brilliant. Hey, on that note, I just feel, shall we do a little galactic heritage, seeing as we've been communing with the other side, and it is Halloween tomorrow.
Hey.
Are you going to do anything special for Halloween?
Oh.
Are you doing anything special for Halloween? I mean, in terms of spirit level stuff, are you going to, sort of go into meditation or set intentions for communing?
Yeah, I was wondering.
Oh yeah, all of it. I feel, get the altar going, I always do a little jack-o'-lantern, set my intention for that, and because everything. Yeah. And get the jack-o'-lantern. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And set the intention. And I always feel like those times, again, pay attention to your dreams, because that's when the veil is thin.
Yeah.
I can't.
Even in waking life, pay attention to all the little things.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I couldn't sleep on Halloween. I was like visited with so many like guides and messages, and it was intense. It was beautiful though. It was really fun.
Yeah. I'm coming to yours. Move over, love. I'm coming in.
Are you doing anything?
If I come into your stream, I got to be a warrior.
I'm not doing anything sort of, commercial. No, but I will definitely have some quiet time tomorrow, and I shall just talk to my mum and dad and anybody else that wants to come in. And yeah, I'll sit and do a meditation.
Don't stay there. Just don't stay.
No, I won't stay. So we've got 63, Seeking Karmic Balance from the Pleiades. So that's right up your street. I need to swap glasses. No longer look cool now. Right.
Get the earthly glasses on.
Get the glasses on. Back to 3D reality. Darn it. Oh, that's useful. 63. So, seeking karmic balance, and this is for the present. As a 4th to 5th density species in this era, Pleiadians are now experiencing a higher spiritual awakening. They recognize their past imbalances and have gained a sincere intention to balance karma by recognizing that all things happen for a reason and learning from their choices. This card encourages you to do the same. A Pleiadian guide is most likely assisting you with this. Take an honest look at your repeating challenges and know that karma is at work. These obstacles are gifts to help you move to the next level of your growth. Embrace them and open to the lesson they are teaching you. Ooh. And the last bit of the commentary is, this is a clear message to look at your life and your actions clearly and do whatever you can to stop repeating old destructive patterns. Always remember that wisdom neutralizes karma. For in gaining the wisdom of lessons from the past, future actions are made from a conscious place, and this is the ultimate way to balance karma. I like that.
That's exactly what we're thinking, what we're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, that's his little face, little Pleiadian.
Oh, cutie cute.
He's cute. Nice. Okay, lovely. Brilliant. So what else do we want to look at tonight?
Do you want to pull another oracle card to see what happens for the week?
I have my light worker.
Yay, lovely.
All right, quickly do a card.
Oh, good. I can go back to being an ET now. So much more comfortable looking through these glasses.
You can tell you didn't want to go to the
I didn't want to go there. And then I wanted to do this as well and look really scary. I just want to sit like this for the entire time now.
You need to, right? Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, let me shine my light on that. Okay.
The Court of Light.
Oh,
it says
lovely.
I'll read backwards. Divine orchestration helpers in the subtle realms. Look at exactly what we were talking about.
The subtle realms.
There
Cracking.
we go. All right, let me find where it is in the book. 1 second. Helps to have 2 hands.
It does.
All right.
Hello.
Double Yoda.
I know.
Double Yoda.
Big Yoda, little
Sorry.
Yoda.
I'm trying to
Yoda
find
major,
it.
Yoda minor.
I love it because your shirt looks like he's looking at him like,
It's my deal. It's my
No.
show. God love him.
Man, doesn't want to come forward.
Oh, subtle realms. Hiding.
Subtle realms.
they are pretty subtle.
Yeah. So subtle. Oh my goodness.
Hiding they are from us. Yes.
Oh my goodness, guys. 10 minutes later. Oh.
And just when you get to it, we'll say, oh, we're out of time. Till next week.
Yeah, I'm telling you. Hey, the picture's enough, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Subtle realms will do it for me.
Good. We might just leave it. No, let me see. Why is that?
So on the subtle symbols.
It's still in the subtle.
Maybe that's part of it. It's the journey. We're still finding it.
Yeah. We don't need to define it. There is no definition.
It does exist. All right. So the Council of Light is a team of benevolent beings who are here to assist the raising of consciousness of the planet. They are here to help you achieve your soul mission and are guiding you every step of the way. However, because we live in a world where free will reigns, they cannot help you without your permission. If you would like their assistance, it's time to ask. So they can help with all kinds of requests, nothing too big or small. Think of them as your personal team helpers in the spirit realm. They are willing and ready to step in to get to work and would do anything to help you. What tasks would you like to delegate to them? So these, of course, are what we were speaking of. They're saying ascended masters, light beings, angels, guides, to help raising Earth of all humanity. So, yeah. And this is to help give you guidance and clarity regarding your personal mission.
Lovely.
So our dreams can do that.
Yeah.
Yes, they can.
So did you say they were called the Council of Light?
Yes.
Ah, so we are a council. They are a council. We're all aligned as a council. Like it. Yay. Fabulous. Hey, should we have a question from the singing bowl, Laurie?
Let's do it.
I've been spreading the word about us, sending the links to more people and asking them if they fancied it to put some messages on Facebook or just to text them me so we can, ever increase our scope for discussion.
This is pretty interesting. It's pretty right on what we're talking about. So what are the different roles that we carry out depending on whether we are ornated towards cosmic, angelic, or earth frequencies?
Uh-huh.
What roles do we carry out?
Yeah. So my thought on this was, I thought about this because at a workshop recently, the attendees, there were about 30 of us, were each person there felt quite clearly aligned with either belonging to the earth, so very much of the dragon energy, angelic, so they were channeling angels, they felt very much the angelic energy, perhaps they did angelic Reiki, stuff like that. And then there were the real weirdos, the hybrids and the star seeds, the cosmic ones.
That made the council?
Yes, just gallivanting out there somewhere and having to be dragged back every now and again. And I just wondered if we had, I think we all hold slightly different vibrations, that always it's a collaboration, it's the collective, it's all of us working together as the whole that brings about the change and the transformation. But I wondered if we had specifically different things to do in terms of raising the vibration of the planet and humanity. Any thoughts on that?
I do. I feel like we all have our own frequency, our own vibration to to do this, because even coming from the galactic, we all have different, journeys to do, different projects to do by healing. I think we're all here to heal, though. I really do feel like that is what it all comes down to. But because there is so many levels and there is so many dimensions, I love that we've all collaborated together, and we could find, and everybody finds their power within the earth or the angels or or their galactic or a council, or I love it. I think it's beautiful. And when people find themselves, you can tell they light up. There's something in them that just lights up and they just resonate it.
Yeah. What do you think, Lani?
I think the same thing. I think the funny, beautiful thing about, awakening and ascension and all of that is you have moments of remembering and like kind of needing to have labels and kind of separate yourself in a sense to get your identity, and then it's like you merge back into like unity and awareness. So I think it is so important to kind of like have that connection and find how unique we all are, and how important, as Lori said, we all are so unique to our mission, but at the same time, like how we are all one. So that's what I find. I kind of go back and forth. You know what I mean? Of like really needing that separateness and that like connecting to certain things, and then going, but does it really matter? Like we're all doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Right.
I wonder if that's sort of playing that's allowing our small ego, the bit that gives us that discernment, that individuality, that is giving us something to hang our hats on. Because I don't think that small ego feels terribly comfortable as an amorphous mass, that concept of infinity. When I try and read a Stephen Hawking book, and he talks about all of that really amazing quantum science thing, I don't get it at all. I cannot get my head round a billion trillion galaxies, and that's only the bit we're aware of. It's the bit that goes beyond, and you think, oh, it's too big, I'm going to explode trying to think that. And then so maybe
like we can't even grasp it. We're just like
no. And then just to come back to something a little bit more manageable. Oh, it's okay. I belong to just the 14 billion galaxies. I can do that. I know where I am now.
I can chew on that for a little while. Yeah.
Hey, listen, my girls.
Overwhelming at times.
Yeah, it is overwhelming. I've just realised we've been given the less than 1 minute to go. We're about to be cut off, so I think we should say bye. And we'll see everybody again next week. And thank you all for listening. I sound like some sort of child's program. Thank you for listening. Thank you for listening. And I just want to go out on a Halloween blast. Bye bye.